Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Redbacks Pod. I'm your host Michael and today we are in and amongst the world of sailing. That is right, we're recording this episode live from the Royal Melbourne Yacht Squadron here in St Kilda with some of our superstar national athletes and awesome all-round blokes and sailors, Michael Parks, otherwise known as Parksy, and Tom. Boys, welcome to the podcast today.
Cheers, mate. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And this is your domain, isn't it? This is your hunting ground.
Oh, yeah.
Around here.
Yeah.
This is your playground. We are literally overlooking the harbour or the Port Phillip Bay. I think that's probably the better way to describe it.
Unfortunately.
Not exactly Sydney Harbour, is
No.
it? And in typical Melbourne style, just to give our audience a bit of a perspective of what you guys did today with your training, take us through just all the different, moments of different weather and different wind and conditions in general.
We had the classic 4 seasons in one day, as we say in Melbourne. We had rain this morning, then the breeze built, which is what we love. Makes it more fun, more physical, more interesting. And then we went out there with a bit of cloud cover. Rain had stopped, thankfully, but then the breeze started to drop and it made for a pretty slow session, unfortunately. We like the breeze.
Yeah, I mean we're big boys in this boat. We'll be honest. We're from a class of boat outside sailing that's quite demanding physically. So we're not the smallest for this boat. So I think the conditions today certainly were challenging. However, we did have some great fun out there.
Always.
Yeah, it did look like a lot of fun. Of course, the media team were here capturing a lot of the stuff, and they'll be doing a lot more at Nationals as well. Parksy, you were hanging off a buoy at one point, a big yellow buoy that was floating. Can you take us through the rationale behind that?
Look, I think it's more lack of rationale, I think. I was just sort of like...
Anything for content, right?
Just like, you guys were driven away, so I just thought, this is my chance to have a little bit of fun, and then sort of sailed up to it, and I said... yeah, Lockie, hold the tiller, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" Then before you know it, I jumped onto this buoy, and in the sudden moment, I jumped on, and the thing starts tipping over, and I was hoping to hell that it just wouldn't fall in on me, and I wouldn't be swimming because I had my phone in my pocket the whole time.
You did. That's the thing. Of course, content is king, and we're trying to mic you up, get some content, and. Yeah, all in all, thankfully you survived, but yeah, it was a bit hairy at one point.
Yeah, look, I did. Look, honestly, I thought it was going to be. I actually don't know what I thought. I just sort of did it, and then
that's what we do.
It just sort of panned out the way it panned out, and here we are. We're still here and dry.
And Tom, you're not out of this discussion either.
Oh, no.
You had a bit of a moment today. Can you take us through it? And I think we do have some vision to match this as well.
Yeah, we do. So, in the lighter breeze, we like to roll the boat to get a bit of power into the rig. And I rolled it a little bit too hard.
Yes.
I didn't put it in the piss. I saved it, but I did end up dropping the tiller and the main sheet, which is basically how we control the boat.
Right.
So
not ideal.
No, less than ideal. Nearly spun out of control, but we saved it. I hope that footage doesn't go up, but it probably will, knowing Parksy and knowing these guys.
Now, I feel.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Unlikely. Unlikely that it's not going up.
So yeah, that was a little bit of a thrill. But look, it happens.
It
does.
It happens, but all in all today, you'd give it a good rating as far as what you're able to achieve and good results all round for the team? Despite those two little mishaps.
Despite those two mishaps, I think we're still building on our foundation of what we want to be as a team.
Definitely.
So, it starts within the boat and getting a bit of synergy between the two people in the boat, and then works its way to all three boats in the team. So
I like it.
Starting to, I think today with only the one-on-one sort of operation.
Yeah, we only had 2 boats, unfortunately, today. A lot of people couldn't make it.
Yeah, so we just did a one-on-one. It was sort of like a attack-defense sort of situation, and we just sort of had our fun with it, I guess.
Yeah, try and make the best of a slow day, both people-wise and wind. So just try and enjoy it and get as much out as we could.
Exactly. No, from a media perspective, from someone who knows absolutely nothing about sailing, it looked fun, but it also looked like you guys had a game plan and you were trying to execute as many different trials as you could. Now, for the audience out there who don't know you two, you guys are, of course, in our national sailing team, which is super exciting. Tell us a little bit about who you guys are, how you got into sailing, and what you're looking forward to with Nationals. Yeah, give us a bit of an intro.
I've been sailing for about, how old am I? 19? 14 years or 15 years. And then racing at a national level probably for about eight or nine. Been to a fair few competitions across Australia, a couple international. And then COVID kind of shut down everything, unfortunately. And then it was kind of a reset for a lot of people. I know, both of us. And then I jumped into a new class of boat after I was sailing a high-performance class before, and my skipper broke his back.
Oh, wow.
Or first skipper broke his arm, the second broke his back. And I was like, stuff this, I'm sailing a boat by myself. So I moved into a single-handed Olympic class, and I've been sailing that for about 2.5, 3 years now. And qualified for my first World Championships in the class, which I'm going to straight after Uni Nationals, actually, in Morocco. So that's going to be there all of October. But yeah, just really looking forward to representing Australia, getting back onto the world stage and hopefully growing, as I've just stepped up to the full-size Olympic class. So a lot of training going into that.
Definitely. And only being 19 as well, I would imagine you've got your whole career ahead of you. So, pretty early stages. And what are you studying at university?
I am doing it's a tongue twister.
Oh, we love these. We love these long, elongated degrees.
Bachelor of Aerospace Engineering with honours, double degree with a Bachelor of Business honours, I think.
Wow, you lost me at aerospace, to be honest. But that's an interesting degree. And where will that hopefully take you in the future?
Full circle back to sailing, ideally. That's why I picked it. Especially with the way the sport's going in the America's Cup and all the new Olympic classes, they're more like planes. Everyone says that. If you're not a sailor, they're more like planes. So they're up out of the water using foils, like an airplane wing, a water foil.
Gee.
And ideally, I'd get back to sailing with it and designing. And eventually my dream is to, if I'm not in the America's Cup, be an engineer in the America's Cup, and that's the long-term goal.
Wow. I mean, let's touch on the America's Cup for one moment, lads. I mean, it was Bob Hawke who had that very famous line back in the day. Anyone who loses their job today, essentially the boss is a bum. That sort of line. We'll play the quote later.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
But it must be an incredible privilege as an Australian sailor to be involved in the America's Cup, and we haven't won it for a long time now.
No.
Is that the overriding ambition? And particularly what we've seen with the Matildas recently in the women's game of sport, and how much Australians get behind their people in different sport. I mean, is this the ultimate pinnacle for sailors on a professional level, would you say?
I'd definitely say so, because you see a lot of Olympic athletes in sailing especially, like, not really even transitioning to that America's Cup level. It's such a finite crowd. And, with the implementation of the Women's America's Cup this year, we're going to see some really good competition, and as long with the Youth America's Cup.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so Olivia Price actually is formed a team, Australian Women's Challenge, for the first ever Women's America's Cup. So Australia will be competing out in Barcelona in October next year. So it's really good to see that happening, and we throw all our support their way for their endeavours there. Definitely.
It's been a long time since Australia. We've been in the Youth America's Cup, and we're not back in the main cup. For interest of viewers, the America's Cup is the pinnacle of our sport, like above the Olympics. It happens every 4 years like the Olympics, but it is the best of the best, and it's a technology race, it's a physical race. Obviously, we won it with John Bertrand, who's a living legend, and he's actually out of our local yacht club, so we see him all the time.
Wow. No pressure.
Yeah, no. Big boots to fill. We haven't had a team in the cup for a long time, and that's mainly financial. Just we don't have the money to keep up with the bigger nations, unfortunately. But having the Youth America's Cup back, and now the women, is awesome for Australian sailing. It is, especially for the women's, first time it's ever been held. It's finally, there's a really good thing, I don't know where I saw it, of Nina Curtis, who's the other skipper of the Team Australia Challenge, and she was talking about how after the Olympic match racing got taken out, she won silver there with Liv Price. In London. After that got taken out, they had nowhere to go. There was no Women's America's Cup there. So being able to introduce something, because the America's Cup is the best of the best in sailing, and to be able to introduce that for something to go into after the Olympics for the women is just awesome. And there are some really good lineups in that. And Australia we're still waiting to hear our final team, but based off sources so far, it's looking pretty good.
Wow, how exciting. And again, to be sharing the same club rooms as a living legend from that club has got to inspire you both to go and literally sail on and do great things, I bet.
Yeah, definitely.
And Parksy, your journey into sailing, give us a little bit of a background of where it all started and where you're hoping to get to as well.
Yeah, well, it was actually all my dad. He was sailing when he was young, just out of Royal Geelong Yacht Club. And then he sort of did some cadet sailing and some fireball sailing and moved out. And he said he'd decide to let me give it a try. And, you know, it was sort of that time period where you're like 7, 8 years old and you're just trying out all different sports, trying to figure out what you find interesting most and moving on with that and trying to stay active and learn all the great lessons that sport has to offer. So yeah, I tried it all. I did a bit of lacrosse, bit of AFL, bit of soccer, but settled on sailing. And yeah, I've been doing that since the age of 8. Sort of was more of a weekend thing for me until I turned about, I'd say 12 or 13 when I joined the open bit class, which is a bit smaller now than it was back then. There definitely was a prime for it.
Yep, it's been and gone.
Yeah, in 2016 we had I think it was 230 boats at the Worlds in France.
Wow.
So it was then that I started training pretty big. We were under Crystal Weir, who's a 2-time Olympian from Royal Brighton as well. She's got a physio practice there. Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
She's a legend.
She's a legend as well. So yeah, we coached under her, and I was able to get 6th at those Worlds in my first ever Worlds, and I was like, yeah, know what?
This
I'll
is
be
for
right
me.
at this.
This is sick.
We're gonna have to put down the lacrosse racket after this.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just then I went into the laser 4.7, which is like the junior class of the laser Olympic class.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved on to the laser radial, which I was lucky to compete in Worlds in Poland, Canada, and even in Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
in
they were
2020.
here. Yeah,
they were here.
That's back when I was sailing the 29er. Bit different.
Yeah, so I got to compete against the world's best there. It was a really cool experience. Did a couple events in the standard rig in the Olympic class and realised that I'm a little bit too short, a little bit too small. So
A little bit too muscular as well. Was that an issue?
I mean, you know, being too strong's been an issue for me for a while.
Not in the laser, mate. You can never be too strong in the laser.
I'm kidding. And then, yeah, so I got a 49er. I've been sailing, which is another high-performance skiff in the Olympics. Yeah, so there's been a lot of development going on in that class recently. So
It's pretty cool.
Trying to jump on board, but, you know, a few crews, some have moved to Sydney, some have wanted to focus on university. So, yeah, I think I'm just in a limbo phase at the moment, post-COVID, just trying to figure out what the next steps are and when that next step comes, really making sure I make the most of it. So
yeah, capitalise.
So I think this is Redbacks, especially part of the journey.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to tie it back to the Redbacks.
Exactly.
It's within your contract.
Oh yeah, we can't say anything bad.
No, that's right.
Yep.
No, absolutely not. The bay's over there. Now, Parksy, what are you studying at university at the moment?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Business in international business. I was doing a marketing major, but I went to Denmark and decided to change that to a minor instead of a double major. So
yes. Well, we'll have to circle back around to the Denmark experience later, because for all those listeners out there who are international students or international exchange students, Australians overseas, it's an amazing experience. I can vouch for it. Love to hear your thoughts on that a little later on. But before we do, your relationship, you two obviously get along really well. There's been some good banter out on the boat. I definitely saw plenty of it. How did you guys kind of, you know, obviously you're at the same club, but what other connections have you guys had previous to coming to the Redbacks, and how's it sort of all spanned from there?
Sailing's a very small world.
Gotcha.
It's a very niche sport. In fact, it's so niche, people don't know it's a sport sometimes.
Yeah, that can be an issue.
I moved to... So I was originally from Canberra, sailing on the lake,
Billy Griffin.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Yeah. So that was my whole childhood, sailing with my uncle. Oh, he used to coach me. And then I moved down here, and the state team was training out of Brighton for the Opties, which is the junior class. So I naturally migrated there and joined that. And that's kind of where I first saw Parksy. Obviously, being a bit older than me, I think you were in the laser 4.7 then.
Yeah.
The seniors.
Oh.
Well, the
Seniors of the youth.
Seniors of the youth.
not even.
Not even.
even.
It's the
Youth of the youth.
Yeah, it's like youth of the youth. He's like junior of the youth, youth of the youth.
Yeah.
Don't start throwing seniors around yet. Come on.
No.
No senior cards here.
But yeah, just everyone at the yacht club knows each other. Especially at a place like Brighton, mainly with the kids. We all grew up together. We all race on Sundays together, things like that. And then you see each other at training through the week. And then I migrated from Opties up to the 4.7 when you were in the radial. I had a crack at that for a month before jumping onto a more high-performance boat, being the 29er. But yeah, I guess that's where we first really met. And we didn't really become super close until probably after COVID.
Yeah.
When I came back to Laserland out of the 29ers, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there was a bit of an overlap because you did radials for a little bit before you jumped into the standard, I think.
Yeah,
And
for
then-
a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, so we were both training radials in the
Yeah.
same squad during that time with the VIS out of Brighton. So,
Oh, yeah.
so-
Yeah, you're in... I kept thinking you had jumped up already, but nah, you were still in the
No.
radial.
Yeah, so because I was doing the Worlds in 2020, so...
Yeah.
And then, 2021 I started to dabble into the Olympic classes a bit more. So
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Cool little jump. The laser 4, as Parksy said, didn't really work out for him being short. It's it's
Too muscular.
too muscular as well.
Too big, too strong.
It's a
Too many jars of pickles, mate.
I know.
Got to stop.
put him down, mate.
Put 'em
Too many
down,
deals.
Down the pickles. Pickled onions.
Yeah, no, the Ilka 7, it's called now, is the men's Olympic dinghy, one person, and it is a very harsh boat.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the slowest classes in the Olympic. It's ironic. It's the slowest class, but it's the most physical.
Yeah.
So you work the hardest to go the slowest.
Yeah,
Because
it's brutal.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Because you, I think with the boat speed, because you'd have fleet sizes of like, if in our World Championships, you have fleet sizes
300,
of
400.
300, 400
yeah.
people competing.
Quite large.
And if you look at it, they're probably the same size as the paces we've got out there, except with one person.
Oh, gosh.
So, with a much bigger sail, than that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're looking at, all these guys, similar level, like all of them. If they're at a World Championship, they're not there to mess around. They're all there.
They've all qualified. They're all there.
They're all qualified. They're all there. So you put all those boats together, and if they're all going within, 0.3, 0.4 of a knot between each other, it really comes down to the decisions they make and where they
Yeah.
position themselves. So that's where you look at. You see heaps of boats really close to each other, infringing on each other. It just becomes it's a really tight competition, and to be the best in that class, really, you have to be an animal.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's
skilled and highly disciplined, I imagine.
Australia's had the last 3 gold medalists at all last 3 Olympics, and then before that we had a bronze. Oh, in 2000.
Yeah, in 2000.
Sorry, I skipped a few years.
With Blackers.
With Blackers, who's one of the best coaches in Australia of all time.
So I'd argue one of the best sailors, but
As well, yeah. But look at what he's done. He produced 3 gold medalists back to back to back.
Yeah, maybe one more pending.
One more pending. We've got the reigning, and he's having a crack at it again, and he's looking real good.
Yeah,
And how old of a man?
Or they,
range.
yeah, range.
Yeah.
It tends to peak towards 30s.
Yeah,
30s.
Yeah.
I think he'd be in his 30s now, surely.
Right.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
The way I describe it is so I've just jumped up to the Olympic class, the full size Olympic class. You spend the first 3 or 4 years gaining size, getting strong, getting fast. Then you spend the next 4 or 5 years getting to the front of the fleet.
Yep.
And then by then you're already nearly 30. And then so the what's it called? Prime tends, when you look at the fleet, it actually tends to be after 30, which is
Wow.
quite interesting because it's such a physical class, and you see
Yes.
people with stretch fractures in their backs, everything. Like, it's brutal. So, yeah, it's quite interesting to see that Australia has this way of breeding gold medalists in the class, and it comes down, I think, to the squad and how they've structured it. So they bring in new guys, and then as old guys retire, I say old, as they retire, everyone kind of moves up and it keeps the flow coming, and that's how we've been able to produce so many people capable of winning gold medals, and it's
Wow.
really cool.
Wow, because I was going to delve into that a little bit more because clearly, we're very advantageous in the fact that geographically Australia is,
All
an
water.
island surrounded by sea.
Yeah.
But, does it also come down to just how good the lower levels are and how well it's structured in Australia, how many opportunities people have? I mean, what would you attribute the success to in Australia?
Yes and no.
Right.
Youth sailing in Australia comes in waves.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big
Oh, yeah.
time.
Like, if ironically Australians don't really get the same opportunities as Europeans.
Even though there are, quite a few landlocked countries in,
Europeans, they can all train between countries.
of course, so close.
It's cheaper. Where Australia, we have to fly every year across to Europe 3-4 times a year. It's expensive.
For competition or for training? Did you know?
Competition, yeah.
Also for training blocks, you see a little training, overseas, and that's part of the game. That's going on. But also, I think we have the advantage here of having our summer here and being able to sail in good conditions all year round, because the Europeans very rarely come down to Australia to train with us. They do.
It's been growing
occasionally.
recently.
It's been
Yeah.
growing.
Since COVID.
I think they've seen the advantages we have. Basically having a summer here, because you can pretty much get any condition in the world in Australia depending on where you go. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
I know there's a few different spots that simulate different spots in the world. Like if you're going to Portugal, you go to Flinders in Victoria because of the big waves.
Right.
If you're sailing on a lake, like anywhere, like say Medemblik,
Lake Macquarie.
Lake Macquarie, or even Sydney Harbour,
Yeah.
very shifty place. In terms of wind shifts.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going with the
No,
shifty
no,
side of
no.
Sydney Harbour.
I realised that as I said it. It's such a thing we say, but it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good spot though.
yeah.
Sydney Harbour's the sailing amphitheatre of the world.
And just
so often
beautiful
gets-
as well. So
Oh,
so picturesque as
yeah.
far as, and you see so many boats out there too.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome place. And
where does Melbourne rank, would you guys say? Or should I say Victoria in general?
Up there.
Up there.
Like I'd say, Sydney and Perth,
Yeah, they're the best.
probably up there with the best. But I think it's quite hard when you've got, almost a place like Sydney Harbour and a place with the infrastructure and the history like Sydney, being people from Melbourne, the Australian sailing teams in Sydney, all these different programs and stuff are run out of Sydney. So
Yeah,
being from Melbourne, it's definitely hard to open the door to get in.
Yeah.
sure.
But once you're in, I think, it's almost as good of an opportunity as anyone.
Melbourne, we get very wide range of conditions here
Right.
compared to a lot of other places. So in Sydney in summer, you typically get like sea breezes almost every day. Where
Nor'easter,
nor'easter
big nor'easter.
off the north head. But then you come here, and one day we'll have a sea breeze, and then the next we'll have a really light and shifty northerly. And I think that's why Melbourne is actually such a good place to sail, because you get everything. And quite frankly, I prefer sailing here to Sydney Harbour, personally. Even though Sydney Harbour's the place to be.
Too shifty.
Too shifty, too...
Yeah.
Just Melbourne's quite high up there. Personally, my favourite's Lake Macquarie, by far.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And where's that located exactly? Lake
It's
Macquarie?
north of Sydney. It's a lake, but it's connected to the ocean, salt water, and it's cracking place.
Wow, pretty
Yeah.
large as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, very large.
Very.
Lots of sharks.
Oh,
Lots of sharks.
lovely.
Sharks,
That's
Bring
jellyfish.
your bait.
I remember saw a hammerhead once. My only time ever seeing a shark sailing was at Lake Macquarie. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like 2018 New South Wales Youths, and it was when not Gold Coast, West Coast won the grand final. It was grand final day.
Oh, right.
I was going to say Gold Coast is still a long way off, Parksy.
Oh, mate, just give him a couple.
Oh, with
give
Dimmer,
him
I
a
tell you.
couple.
Yeah,
Give him
just
a couple.
a couple of compensation flags.
Yeah, I actually love how that's going on, but that's not saying.
Yeah,
That's not sailing.
We divert.
Yeah.
Leave that to the footy boys.
Exactly.
That's
So,
right. We got Matty Peart, who's around the traps,
Yeah.
and he's a big Gold Coast supporter, so we'll have to get him on an episode and get him to gas bag a bit. But yeah, so during the West Coast Grand Final, there was...
Yeah, it was just like, it was a pretty... I actually think I did okay then. I think it was just quiet. I had a good event.
Yeah,
Hey, you
I
can
had a
say
good
it.
event
You
there.
can say it.
But then, yeah, so it was just sailing along and sailing into shore with my little dry bag, with my jacket to keep warm and my little
food.
lunch bag, and then look over my hip and you see a fin. I'm like,
Oh,
usually
no.
you see a fin here and you're just like, oh, dolphin. It's
Yeah.
fun. Because we don't have sharks, so we're just like, yeah, okay, dolphin. And
I've seen a couple.
it sort of just hovered there. It wasn't going away. I'm like, oh, shit, like... we're in trouble here. So I just sort of sat there and then it disappeared, and then I like literally beached the boat because I didn't want to get out of the water until I got in.
Yes.
I was that scared.
Ironically,
That's
I've
scary.
never mentioned this before. I've got a fear of deep water. Ironically,
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
jeez.
as a sailor, I'm fine when I'm on my boat, but when I fall in the boat, I'm in the drink. I'm
Now, Tom, you don't have a fear of water in general, do you?
No,
just,
no.
Just thought we'd get
No,
that out.
no,
Yeah,
no.
no, that's
Especially
good.
like back bottling and your body gets dragged out of the boat and the boat keeps going
yeah.
and you're just like, and you're just sitting there in the water.
and then you have to swim
and
to
you
it.
And you look around and there's like, you just can't see the land and you're just like, oh boy.
I think part of that's due
dangerous.
to a little incident I had off Black Rock a few years ago, but we won't mention that.
Oh, no.
Some people may know. But yeah, I've never said that. Sorry,
No,
this is completely off topic.
That's
out
off
to
the
the
record
pod.
You were
right there.
talking about sharks, and I was like, oh yeah, deep water. Not my favourite.
Not your favourite. And tell me, like, in a sailing boat, do you have any chance with, like, a decent-sized shark? Like, would you be able to fend for yourself? Is there any equipment in there that you'd be able
With
to
a boat?
hole at it?
Yeah, go ahead. Any shark.
Don't
Any
know
shark.
about-
Doesn't matter what size. Any shark. I'll take it on if I've got a boat.
Mike Tyson.
If I'm sitting there, there
okay.
in the water, I'm in trouble.
Well,
But
you've
if I've
heard it
got a
here
boat-
first. Parksy is absolute game for any sharks out there.
Exactly,
Just watch out. We're looking at
exactly.
the absolute jets on him right here. he's giving us a bit of a tense. Bring on the sharks. That's what we say here on the podcast.
Only if I'm sitting on a boat.
Of course. We
Only.
must stress that.
Specify
If you're
that.
sitting on a boat, yeah, if he's just laying in the water, maybe not as much.
Yeah, it's one thing I'm worried about. So I'm going to Morocco after Gold Coast.
Yeah, you did mention
Yeah,
Morocco.
yeah. The
You're worried
orcas.
about pirates, are you?
No, the orcas.
Oh, right.
They've been on the
I've
news.
heard.
They've been
And
on the
they're
news
right there.
everywhere, and they're in the Gibraltar Strait, which is where I'm sailing.
Right.
They go up and like bite rudders off boats and stuff, and they've sunk boats.
But
So
they're
I'm-
so meticulous as well.
Yeah,
Have you
I
seen
know.
how they do it? So they
They buy you a drink first.
all three
Yeah.
of them. All three of them will go like swim in a line, go out of the water and dive, and it creates
And it
this
flips the
massive
boat.
wave that flips the boat. And they've like they somehow communicate this with each other.
Oh, no.
So that's
And
what
the
I'm
boats
scared
flip,
about.
And then people die and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like the whales are there.
Oh, my
So obviously some whales had like a bad experience with the boat and has been telling the other whales
Yeah.
to like do this. And now you see like all these meticulous attacks because you see them do it with seals and stuff as well, like a seal on an iceberg.
So you don't get this in footy.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
don't. No, sorry. This is a sailing
don't.
chat.
Yeah.
This is why this is so good.
They like jump out the water and dive, and there's clips of on YouTube.
We need a marine biologist
yeah,
here.
we need
You need more than the arm,
well,
that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
because they like dive up and they flood the iceberg and it washes the seal
Yeah,
off the
yeah.
iceberg and then they eat the seal. It's like
That is savage.
serious. It is seriously planned tactics.
So that's what
Like,
I'm worried
wow.
about.
So that rightfully,
Yeah.
I'm scared listening to this. I'm like, I'm never getting in the water in Morocco ever.
Yeah, no.
Even with a boat, I don't feel confident.
Especially with a boat.
Especially with a boat.
Yeah. You're probably safer just swimming with
You
one.
probably are.
Yeah.
Probably safer on the
They've got
door
like
for
a
the Titanic.
vendetta against us, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon.
So yeah.
Whiz. So that's your fear. What about you, Parksy? Other than like you can handle sharks, these creatures sound pretty bad. Is there anything that fears you in Australia, or should I say you fear it in Australia waters?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know about you, but like North Queensland,
Oh,
saltwater
the box
crocs.
the box jellyfish.
Box jellyfish as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I used to wear these leggings when I sailed up there for Queensland Youth Week when that was big. I had like skins that had like they
Sting
were
proof.
sting proof.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
But like Yeah, I think my biggest fear was once in Optimus, like a junior boat. It's like a big bathtub, essentially.
Right.
Imagine a bathtub, that's what it is.
Don't diss on them.
Oh, no, but they are.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
That's the easiest way to look at it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so this thing, when I was really young, these things fill up with a lot of water, and they flip really easy. Like, they're hard to flip, but once they're flipped, like, a bit dangerous.
Right.
So when you flip, the boat flipped on top of me, and I was like, I had my feet tangled in the main sheet, and I was like stuck under the boat. And I was breathing through the air pocket under the boat, and I was trying to untangle my feet. And I've never been so scared in my life.
Yeah, I've had a
Wow.
couple scary incidents in the sport.
It's just like, yeah, there's moments like that was probably as like a 9-year-old as well.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
Right at that early age.
Yeah.
Into a boat, that can traumatise you.
Yeah,
it does most people.
it can
Yeah.
get quite dangerous, our sport, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It does sound like it, but there is good training in place, probably in those early
Of course.
years.
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
able
yeah,
to
of course.
adjust.
Yeah,
It's a little bit like when you, I suppose, go on a kayak or whitewater rafting and you learn how to do, a professional capsize. So you
Yeah.
can, when you're in a bit more of a precarious situation with branches and God knows what else,
yeah,
you're actually able to be conditioned for
Yeah.
that. So it's a bit similar with sailing, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
That's good to know. That's really good to know. But other than that, other than box jellyfish and going anywhere near the Northern
Australia's a
Territory,
great place.
Australia's a great place to sail.
We're
Yeah,
awesome.
we love it here.
Tell us a little bit about the Gold Coast, because this is, of course, where you guys are going to be stationed for a week. You're going to be sailing. You're going to be representing the mighty RMIT Redbacks. Hashtag biteback. Hashtag whatever hashtags we're going for this year. Hashtag box jellyfish, whatever. Hashtag sharks on doors and whatnot.
I like
dizzy.
that. Get dizzy.
Get dizzy. Yeah. Tell us about Get Dizzy, because this
Okay.
is going to be your hashtag.
Okay, here we go.
This is going to be your motto. Tell us about it.
So anyway, I think if you haven't heard, sailing's changed format this year. We've gone from fleet racing, which is just like first person across the line wins, to teams racing, which is like a 3v3, sort of trying to take other people out, sort of racing.
And sorry, Parks, this is about the 6th time you've described this today, by the way. He's had to explain it to a bunch of clueless media students. You've had to describe it to our audience at home, so well done. So do you like this format? And, tell us about, Get Dizzy and how it plays into your new format.
Yeah, so I do like the format. It's fun to do. It's pretty hard to follow, so I feel for
Yeah.
you guys a little bit and trying to figure out what's going on. But
Yeah.
essentially, you're trying to get your team into the best position. So you need to get the best result for the team. So
I like that.
getting your team in front of the other team, basically. And
We're all about team here, aren't we, at the Redbacks?
Oh, we love team.
We love team.
We love team. Bite back. Anyway, getting dizzy. Where that comes from is basically what we want to do this year. I think we want to get a lot of penalty turns on people. If you get
Just to make this clear, this
Yes.
isn't
Yeah.
drinking.
No,
No,
this
no,
isn't
no.
drinking. This
No,
isn't
this-
going in an office chair
no.
and spinning around
No,
20
no.
times.
No, so when you're sailing in teams racing format, there's an umpire who has a flag. If there's an infringement and he sees it, they'll blow a whistle and point the flag at you, and you'll have to do 2 penalty turns.
Right.
So 720.
So yeah, 720,
Wow.
spinning the boat around. And anyway, so in this format, you're trying to force that upon people. Let's say that, or take them out, basically.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
in teams racing, you are trying to attack the other team. It's
Yeah.
not like,
It's within the rules.
yeah,
Exactly. The rules are the only thing that really keep it together. So
yeah, yeah, literally.
if there was no umpire, it would
gets
be
heated.
real. Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets really heated, and
Yeah.
that's why we've run by the motto "Get Dizzy" because we're trying to get people spinning.
Yeah, trying to make people, trying to infringe people so they get dizzy by doing turns. That's the whole motto, get dizzy.
Hashtag Get Dizzy.
Yeah.
I really think this is going to catch on.
I hope
I think
so.
this will be transferable to other sports as well.
I reckon.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I can see basketballs doing like a 360
Yeah,
layup, trying to
360
get dizzy.
dunk.
Or the 10-pin bowling, putting some spin
Oh,
on
Oh,
it.
yeah,
putting some
get
spin. Get the
dizzy.
ball dizzy.
Get
I
dizzy.
I
like
don't
that.
mind that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
Knocking
mind
those
that.
pins up, making them dizzy too.
I like this. I like this.
What other sports do we do that get dizzy? Oh.
I reckon lacrosse sometimes you've got to kind of
Oh,
do
when
a
you
spin as
spin,
well
yeah.
to grab the ball off someone else.
Ultimate frisbee as well.
Frisbee.
There you go.
Oh my
That's
God,
another
putting
one.
the revs on that.
You know what I mean?
Making the
Disc.
disc dizzy.
Yeah.
Just dizzy.
Big dizzy.
And of course, when Tom said drinking, he was of course referring to drinking too much salt water in the
Oh,
water.
of course,
of course.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
We don't
you
do
don't want to
that
get dizzy
around
that way.
Yeah,
That's for
family
sure.
friendly.
Family
Exactly
friendly
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking of family friendly, the place where you guys are actually doing your sailing is what, in SeaWorld or outside inside SeaWorld?
Oh my!
I think it's
Don't get me started.
Yeah, so this I think if
Do you get a theme park pass for this as well? or
Oh,
what?
I'd actually love a 3-park super pass at the end
Just
of
a
this.
shout out,
I'd
by the way.
actually love it. If we're actually participating where we're participating, where I think if we don't get a 3-part super pass, I'll be fuming.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think you go on strike if you don't.
I know.
Frankly.
As sailors, we have been stitched up this year. I'm sorry, but
No, say it. This is your forum.
UniSport, if you're listening. UniSport, if you're listening.
get a grip.
Get a grip.
Why are we sailing
Get
on
dizzier.
So you know those cable parks essentially?
Yes.
So where wakeboarders do that.
That's where
like
we're
a
sailing.
little pond. We're sailing that
Yeah.
instead of on the beautiful
Southport Yacht Club.
Southport Yacht Club.
Which is actually where they're moving the boats from, if I'm not mistaken.
They're moving the
So-
boats from Southport to a pond.
You could just save you money, your petrol. Instead of towing the boats there, just have us there. It's like a 3-minute walk from our
Yeah.
where we'd actually be more than happy to accommodate that.
Yes.
And,
So-
and I'd actually, dare I say, I'd encourage it. However,
he would be happy for his parking spot to be taken up by the boats.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah.
Easy. See, here we go. Compromise. Thank you.
Exactly.
So UniSport, we do have some choice words for you. But we are not a fan of where we are sailing, and if the breeze does not cooperate, it is going to be a very long event.
very long.
Wow.
Very long.
However, we are appreciative of the event UniSport put on.
Of course.
Exactly, and potentially the 3-part pass for
yeah.
the theme parks. Thank you very
Just
much.
letting you know, my emails are open if they are willing to offer that as compensation. I'd be more than happy to share that amongst the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I like this little diplomacy chat. This is good. This
Well-
is what we needed.
We're going up like 3 days early.
Oh,
3 days
yeah,
for 3
I mean,
parks.
Yeah, I mean,
I
exactly.
like that.
fair.
I
You
don't
got
mind
time.
that.
I like
don't mind
that.
mate.
I like that.
3-part, 2-pass. Like, it's just so versatile, isn't it?
Oh,
You can really, if we can share
You'll get
that.
very dizzy on some of those roller coasters.
Oh,
I feel.
yes.
Especially that big drop one. I feel like
Training.
Training.
Roller coaster, get dizzy training.
I think that's only
see,
fair.
loop to loops.
Yeah,
I like
I
that.
like that.
This is good. We're getting somewhere with this. So
Yeah.
you're competing in the Gold Coast. What is the kind of week looking like for you guys?
Oh, you better
on the
answer
pond.
this. I have no clue.
From my understanding of it all, I believe that it starts off with a draw. The draw gets given out, and it's a round robin, and then that draw gets seeded on day 2. And then I'm not sure how many days or what goes on from there, but I know there's a final series, and from that final series comes a semi-final, final, and obviously a 3rd place playoff. So, because it's a head-to-head format, we have a group stage, and through that group stage, we get a ranking, and from that ranking, we'll see how we move on. So I think that it's very important for us early on in Gold Coast to really be really switched on to try and get in that top seeding and get as many wins as possible to put us in a good position to make that semi-final final.
Yeah, with the teams racing format, you really don't want to be playing catch up. Because sure, you're versing one other team, but you never know if other teams are winning all their matches, their races. So you have to attack it with intensity and make sure you get, at least after the first day or two, a good scorecard so you can be up in the talk for the finals. It's almost impossible in teams racing to play catch up, unfortunately.
And you mentioned earlier 14 universities are competing this year in the sailing. Is that correct?
I think something like that. There's a significant.
unsure.
There's a significantly bigger amount than last year,
Right,
I
right.
believe, because it's
So,
more
yeah.
accessible. I don't know exactly the figure,
Right.
but definitely a lot more competing this year. I know. Like last year, we didn't have any side from South Australia. We didn't have a side from Queensland. So yeah, it's gonna
It's going to be more teams. It's going to be good.
more teams,
That's
more
what you want.
competition.
More competition.
Which is a great thing. I think it adds to the event. Versing more people from different universities also just expands the fun as well in it, I guess. Like,
Agreed.
meeting more people, connecting with more people, just makes, that's exactly what UniSport is all about. And
Yeah.
That's what we do. Do this to make those connections and have fun with people with different other universities. as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
big time.
as I mentioned earlier, sailing's a small world, and often I know me and you, we have friends from other states, and obviously they'll be, or a lot of them will be competing. So it'll be good to see them again, even
Yeah,
though we
for
see them
sure.
throughout our summer, just at a additional fun event which isn't on our Olympic circuit. It's just good to have a laugh and some friendly competition.
And Parksy, you've been really probably within the inner sanctum when it comes to the leadership of the Redbacks. We can say that, absolutely. In fact, just a quick shout out, winner of the planking competition at last year's Nationals as well. So it clearly shows how much strength comes from sailing and just how strong you are. So you absolutely belted your competition in that. But tell us about what it means to be a Redback. Certainly Tom has probably been in the fabric a little less time than you have, but what does it mean for you in particular to be a Redback, and what are you expecting from the Redbacks this year, not only from a competition standpoint but also from a spirit standpoint as well and camaraderie?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I'd like to preface this with, like, at university it's quite hard, especially with the sort of setup at university, to meet new people. Like, you go in class, you do your class, you go home. So I think signing up for this and putting my hand up to be the team manager role last year really was like a way for me to sort of make those connections.
Yeah.
And the way I was welcomed into the community and everyone got around me made me really feel like I could embrace and be happy with, what was going on with the Redbacks and participate and engage in such a fun, encouraging group. And I think that's really important for me, basically, to pass on and make sure those Redback values of inclusiveness, competitiveness, making sure everyone has a great time, everyone getting around each other. It's a real important part of the journey at university. I think it's even an important part of life. So that's what it means for me.
It's brilliant.
And I mean, the Redbacks this year, I know we're a very strong group, and I hope we carry the momentum from last year in being such a strong spirited group, I'd say.
I think with you at the helm, we definitely will be. That's very well said. I don't know how you're feeling, Tom. The hairs are standing up on my arms there. That's pretty inspirational stuff. And obviously having Parksy as your team manager and you learning a bit more about the fabric of the Redbacks. I mean, what have you learned from this great man so far? And what are you looking forward to as a newly crowned Redback?
Look, I don't think I've learned that much from Parksy. No, I'm joking.
Come on.
No, at the Redbacks. But I'd heard so much about UniSport through older friends in sailing that I kind of had to put my hand up for it. And Parksy also approached me asking if I was going to do it. And it's a no-brainer. Like, getting to spend time with your mates, make new mates that are from different degrees. You don't meet them in normal uni. And then get to compete with them and at the UniSport Nationals. It's pretty cool. So I'm really excited. Obviously, teams racing is a bit of a different format to what I normally do, but I like to think I'm fairly confident and all right at it. So I'm looking forward to representing RMIT.
That's amazing. So that's obviously your story. We've heard your story, Parksy. Tell us a little bit about your team that you're taking along this year. How did you land on the teammates that you've managed to get? And, this is your opportunity to really be free. Talk freely about them. They're not here. They can't represent themselves. So tell us about them a little bit more and potentially, how did they squeeze into the team? What was the prize money like?
Well, I mean, obviously we had a lot more participation this year than we did last year in terms of team selection, so it was a really hard decision. This one kid called Tom sort of wanted to cut him, but he was okay, so I had to pick him.
A bit of a liability, we get that.
Not that great.
I think I even discussed that on the rib with you, like.
What?
You'll see the tape. Yeah. You'll see the tape.
This is news to me.
Exactly why. You'll see exactly why. You were talking some absolute dribble.
Dribble?
And, you were dribbling at me for the start line, and he was like, then Mike was like, but Parksy won the race, and I'm like, yeah, because he can't execute it. He's just
From the horse's mouth,
my
Tom.
excuse is I dropped my tiller.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Roll the tapes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Roll the tapes. Anyway, apart from that, it was actually
student. You've got a pretty good team.
Well, it was really hard to pick. We had a lot of people apply this year, and we had very strong skippers. I think that's what it came down to. There was a lot of really good sailors that really didn't make the cut. In terms of skippers, and then for crew, we knew that Gold Coast was going to be a light weather event, so
pick the lightest people.
We've had to pick a lot of small people to fill that role. So we've got Jack Fury and Liam Hounslow for as the other skippers. Liam has done. He's been poached from college in America.
Yeah.
Which is
what a get.
so he's been.
So you guys were over there last year, doing the whole US tour, just grabbing people.
Well, I actually saw you on part of my
I
journey.
may have been over there. I may have helped with that, getting out over the line. I'll take full responsibility for that, Parksy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well,
You got to put up with a little holiday as well, but
little holiday in America. But I also sent him like a scout report saying like go through the US collegial system sailing team and just give me the names. And we've just poached one.
Oh my God.
I'm joking, of course.
Wink.
Of course. Wink, wink.
So he's going to be very exciting to see sail.
So is he an American or is he an Australian that was over there,
No,
right?
he's an American.
American.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's full blown. So that's going to be exciting to see. And then we got Jack Fury, who's a good reserve sailor for us.
Yeah.
That's also can skip around crew.
Any relation to Nick Fury?
Oh, Jack
Fury, yeah.
Oh.
Any relation to Nick from the world of Marvel?
No clue.
Oh,
No clue.
look,
Doubtful.
Doubtful. I
He
mean,
doesn't wear eye patches, does he?
Yeah,
big
no.
fan of the Marvel franchise, though. Shout out to them.
Shout out to them, right?
Shout out to them.
Making some great stuff.
Yeah.
Are they doing like a sailing superhero at any point, do you think? That would
Imagine.
be cool.
Ideas, but I don't look. I think
Barnacle
it's niche.
Man or something? I don't know.
I reckon it'd be too stereotypical sailor.
Probably would be.
Because everyone says sailor and they've got like this, the stripy Tommy
no,
John
no,
shirt
no,
off with
yeah.
with blue and blue stripes.
Yeah,
and
we
green
don't.
and white stripes.
To be honest, it's really just guys in shorts with Redbacks t-shirts on. That's your typical sailor these
Exactly.
days, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just here to have fun, have a giggle.
Exactly.
Key emphasis on the redback shirt.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go, Marvel. We're open for discussions.
Eat your hearts
We'll
out.
come and visit you in the US again. How about that?
Yeah.
Spot on.
So you got Jack Fury. Anyone else in the team?
We got Piper.
Who's just moved from Canberra, I believe.
No.
Following your
Gold
footsteps.
Gold Coast.
Yeah,
No, she was Canberra.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, we might have to come back to
No,
this.
because she has a car, mate. That we're using her car.
Yeah, because her family's from Brisbane.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's it.
Okay. Anyways,
Whatever it is, she's in the team.
That's good.
as a pretty solid crew, and then we've got
Angus Mahoney and
Lockie Shea.
Yeah,
decent.
that rounds
decent
out
team.
the lineup.
Wow, you said that simultaneously too. That's how in sync you guys are.
Oh, yeah.
You should
Great minds
see
think
us,
alike.
You should see us when we race together. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we just.
It's like
think
you finish each
telepathically.
other's.
Sentences.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, there we are. Now
No,
we're on.
no. But that didn't work. That was your
That
sentence.
was mine. All right,
yeah.
you go.
Oh no, we're being put on the spot.
Oh no. Oh no.
Um,
You need to have it organically, boys.
I know.
Who's the best sailor of all time? Oh no.
Because I'm going to say one that's...
What are you gonna say?
I'm going to say Robert Scheidt.
Oh, I'm gonna say Tom Slingsby.
Oh, come
That's
on, boys.
okay. All right, that's fine.
Well, this goes against my point.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyways,
So they're not that on sync. But anyway,
No.
so you've got a good team.
Good enough.
Good variation of experience, would you say, as well?
yeah, lots of different backgrounds.
good.
Different types of sailing in different classes. So we've got a couple who have done more of this format, teams racing, and then we've got myself and Parksy and another few others who have done the Olympic and youth class pathways. Sorry, and then we've also got others who have done big boat stuff. So the more team based on a larger boat. So yeah, we've got a wide variety of people on the team, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we're really looking forward to seeing what you guys can achieve at Nationals. It's only just around the corner as well.
Yeah.
Probably by the time this releases, it's probably going to be a week out from Nationals. In the lead up, is there, obviously you guys did your training today. Is there any sort of team dinners, different bonding sessions? Are there anything?
Oh, do we have
Parksy's
some?
going
We
to take him on a
have.
spin in a limo. What's going on?
Not even that far off. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no. We have
What's
got
the budget here, boys?
we have
Seriously,
got a
you're
pretty
selling
good
boat
program.
tickets.
Okay, I'm going to announce this.
Yep.
So RMIT
we go.
Sailing are having a booze cruise.
But it's not like a
But
pub crawl like
it's-
you think.
No,
it's
it's
quite
right, okay.
literally
It's quite literally.
a booze cruise,
We're like Jack Fury is taking his boat out, and we're just gonna have.
which is a big boat to
which is-
specify.
It's a yacht. It's not like
one
the
of those.
Pacers.
A
So-
super yacht or
No,
No,
not quite,
no,
not quite.
just
unfortunately.
one
Couple
with
of tiers down.
one with a sail, and then we're just gonna go over there.
One with a sail
One with a
yeah,
sail. That
and
makes a big
we're
difference.
gonna go out there, and we're just gonna have fun.
and have a booze cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell me you're going to hang off one of those boys again. The
No,
big
no,
yellow
no, no,
boy.
no,
no,
absolutely no
not this time.
mischief.
No
No,
mischief.
not on those boats.
No.
Too serious for
Yeah,
that.
no.
Keep it indoors.
Yeah.
We keep it to the paces. Paces are where we can get a bit cheeky. But we
some
don't
fun.
we don't get cheeky around big boats.
Yeah.
And is that the team specifically for that event?
No. That's open to anyone that really is interested in
Oh, very
sailing.
good.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those listeners out there.
That are interested.
Yeah, it's
that's
probably going to
really
be out by the time we get there, but
And then we've got some other.
be done. But
Be done,
shout out
but-
if you want to come.
cool. Shout out
Should
if
have
you
come
wanna-
last week.
wanna come to the pier completely empty.
You're a week late. No, we've got some other pretty cool little events lined up. Dinners, nights out, you could say.
Yes, yeah.
Just some team bonding
Building
things.
trust. And
Exactly. Building up to the Nationals, where it peaks. So, we've got a good few team bonding things coming up, which will be cool.
That's
As well
very
as our training. We're hoping to fit some more of that in before we go.
Gee, that's fantastic. Oh, it sounds like a really, really fun week, and obviously this is your first year, Tom, doing this, so hopefully we'll have you involved in plenty more. Parksy, how many more have you got left? You got a few more?
Well, it depends if I do a Masters.
You are doing a Masters and you're coming back. I've decided for him.
This could be the finale. We'll see. Pending. Watch
the
this
last
space.
dance. The last sail? Does that? Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
I
doesn't
know.
it?
I set sail on my.
No,
Redbacks
stop.
adventure. Hey, that's good.
No, okay.
I mean,
No, set sail is like you're starting.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I can't say
yeah.
that
So
word.
you-
But yeah, and that's what I was thinking of saying.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Oh, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat.
Oh, we like
This is the place to come for all the sailing puns, isn't it? Oh, we love it. We love it.
Oh, God.
Unreal.
Oh, jeez. That's very good. Ripped it. Now, boys, before we wrap up the podcast, we gotta find some interesting stories that you have of sailing. Now, you mentioned a few before. You mentioned the box jellyfish, the sharks. Today was almost a funny story in itself, just hanging off your boats and hanging off buoys. But tell us, what is a resonant or a standing out story that you can think of in your sailing lives?
You go first.
Or your university lives, for that matter, as well. We were going to circle back to your Denmark
should-
days there, Parksy, as well.
Should we
You
do
might have
a
good
sailing one and then a uni one?
one. I think so.
Okay.
Okay,
You go
I got
first.
a good one from Nationals last year if you
Okay.
want to go RMIT. It actually wasn't an RMIT student. I can actually throw shade on Monash here.
Oh, here we
A
go. The
cer-
rivalry.
A certain Monash student in Paramount nightclub
Shout out.
got up to.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
They've looked at the camera deadpan.
If you know, you know
who you are.
who you are.
Oh, no.
There was just like
I wasn't even there and I've heard about it.
The dance floor was down below, and there was like a bar up top, and it had these like handrails that were going to cross the whole back of the bar.
Oh, God.
And anyway, this one Monash sailor, you know who you are, has just walked up and he's grabbed the handrail and it's wobbling. And he looks at me and I'm shaking my head like, don't you dare do it. And he's just kicked it over. Bang! Slams on the floor. Seckies get him. That is Uni Nationals at Paramount done. And if you know
Can't go
anything
back.
about,
Life
if you
ban.
know anything about, you know what happened last year in Perth, Paramount was the mecca.
It was.
It was
place.
the place to be. So getting kicked out and barred from that place, not the play
ideal.
from him. So it wasn't.
No, he just had to go to
story.
all the bowlers clubs after that. He was struggling.
Yeah,
The
so
lawn bowls.
it wasn't an RMIT story, but it was a Uninat story, and you know, I'm
So
glad.
Parksy, he kicked down a balcony.
Like a balcony railing, yeah,
railing,
like a big mahogany wood railing thing.
Did it fall on anyone?
No, not on anyone, but like just fell like bang. Like it
Bang.
could have. It could have. He
Bang.
just did it.
And then did he fall after it or?
No. He the only time he fell is when he got thrown to the floor by the security guards. But
naturally,
you know, that's
naturally.
another story.
That's just them doing their job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, what an imbecile! What an imbecile! That's
I
a
know.
great story, by the way.
Average
Come on, Tom.
Monash student.
Top
I know.
that.
It's the average. It's just an average Monash student. And
Just another Monash student.
Exactly.
And the rivalry just continues.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we
yeah.
got one up on them last year. They didn't make finals. They actually
Oh.
came last.
Did they?
They came last
Oh.
last year.
So you're going to
They were
dare him
horrendous.
to kick your boat, or is that not going to happen?
no. Well, I mean, this year it's going to be a different story for them, looking at their lineup. However,
yeah, they've got a good lineup.
however,
okay.
you know, if you want it, come get dizzy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's
Come
right.
get
That's
dizzy.
right. Because if they get dizzy off the court, then they may not be coming back.
Exactly. Lockie
Yeah,
Weaver,
all
look
the
out.
above. Yeah.
He's dropped his name. We
Dropped his
might
name.
have to bleep that out.
Yeah, okay.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. What have you got for us, Tom? Any crazy sailing stories or what was that? Was that that was a uni story?
That was a uni story.
So
Go for a sailing one.
go for a sailing one. Come on, Parksy.
Oh, jeez. Now I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
Have you got any sailing stories from Denmark? I mean, that was your recent exchange. Just quickly, just give us a quick plug about being a global exchange student.
Oh, if anyone's like listening and considering going on exchange, highly recommend. It is unreal. It's the best decision you'll ever make. RMIT make it such an easy process.
They do, don't they?
They do a really good job. So yeah, I'd highly recommend. Even better if you don't know the language of the country, because that's another challenge.
10 times better. My God.
It makes it so much more fun, in my opinion. That is, if that's what floats your boat, choose it. But yeah.
And what about your accent?
no.
Were they a big fan of it?
They're a big fan of the accent. Yeah, they loved it.
The accent that you're hearing right now, is that what they heard, or did they hear that times 10?
No, I think it was genuinely like this. I think I'm actually pretty.
You didn't.
No, I think I'm a bit like that, to be honest. Anyway, so I think I was just a bit myself. So I was just doing that and then just having a good time. So yeah, I think that's sailing story. Like, I've got a friend called Magnus Froman from Denmark. Shout out him.
Great name.
Magnus.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I knew a guy from Denmark called Lars Peterson. I mean, that is
That is an elite name.
That is a deluxe name.
That's good.
I actually wanted to change my name when I got back to Lars Peterson. Shout
That's a
out to
good
him.
name.
That's unreal.
Anyway, so Magnus, which is a hell of a name.
Yeah, great name.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway, so he was working for Milizia, which is the German team, when they were stopping over in Aarhus, Denmark. And basically...
German team for the ocean race.
For the, ocean race.
Volvo ocean race.
They do a lap of the world.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. They do it every 3 or 4 years. Well, they literally sail around the world for a year. It's a race. It's sick. It's so cool.
Wow.
So they stopped in Aarhus in Denmark, which is the city I was living in, and he was just like, he just gives me a buzz. I'm in my uni accommodation doing some uni work at like 11 p.m.
As you do.
And he's just like, "Oi, mate, like, let's come to the dock." And I was like, okay. And then anyway, he just brings me onto the boat, like the Volvo Ocean Race boat.
The
And I was just like, that's sick.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
It's one of those experiences where it's like,
Wow.
whenever you ever get a phone call like that, late, and you're just like, oh, okay, I'll have a go.
Have to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how was it out of 10? Like
Sick.
interior, exterior?
I mean, minimalist. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah, it
everything's
sounds like
carbon fibre. They don't really have beds, so like,
Right.
they sort of do. They strap themselves to the side of the boat.
Quite literally,
Like,
they strap themselves to the
literally
boat
strap
to sleep.
themselves. So they've got like a bunk bed with a rope, and they like yank the rope,
So
and
they
it, like,
don't go
slams
flying.
their face against the wall of the boat, so they don't roll around.
You're really selling this to me.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to say that. That was good.
Uber comfort.
Oh yeah,
That was a good story.
we love sailing.
I like that. All right. Well, you've only been in the uni system for a short period of time, Tom. But as far as
I don't have many uni stories as of yet.
yes, well, we might have to touch back in with you when you,
After-
when you come
after
back.
Gold
I have a
Coast.
story about Tom.
Oh, here we
no.
go. This is
I do.
good. This is
Oh,
good.
no.
Okay.
Okay.
This compensates.
So this is actually a uni thing event. So Melbourne Uni hosted
Oh
a pub.
no!
We've got another rival now. We've got Monash and Melbourne. Josh,
no, no,
we
no.
actually
Shout out to
We
them.
like
Shout out to them because
like
they
it.
hosted a pub crawl and they invited us. They were happy enough to invite us to this one.
Okay,
nice,
go
that's
ahead.
And anyway, well, we were actually talking about, me and some of the Melbourne people were talking about my planking competition triumph, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good. And Tom's like, no, but I'm pretty good too.
Oh,
no.
no, Tom.
And before you know it, on the floor of the pub, by the way, Australia's the Matildas are versing Nigeria.
Nigeria.
We're 3-1 down at this
Oh,
stage.
God.
And we're like, well, okay, this isn't going
Plank
well.
off.
And then we just, no, it wasn't really a plank off. I just got my stopwatch out and Tom's just on the floor doing a plank.
Safe to say, I didn't make the 7 minutes, Parksy.
Oh,
he
no.
didn't get there. And he was like... But the thing was, like, it was like as if the pub's going on normally, and in the corner is just like Tom, just sitting there lying down on his hands and knees, like shaking, it's like, and we were just like, "Oh, you got it, Tom." I've actually got a clip of it. I reckon I can send it to you if you put it in.
Please put it in.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's another story.
There was a few good notes.
We've had a good.
Oh, this is good.
Now that I remember, we have had some good times already in uni.
Now that you remember, I
Now
love
that I
love
remember.
There you go.
Okay, no.
I'm glad
no,
someone
no,
remembered.
no, no.
You didn't remember the plank though.
No.
No.
Of
Funny
course
about
not.
that.
You'll have to check back with me
we'll
after
check
Gold
back
Coast.
with you about the
the
spirit
stories.
level off the field,
Off the water.
off the water, exactly. But as far as sailing stories, are there any that really stand out for you?
I've had a couple. One really bad and one really awesome.
Oh, I like this.
We might go. We'll go with the really bad one first.
Good place.
Get it out of the way.
Yep.
So 2019, I went sailing.
Oh, Parksy's already cracking up here.
So
oh, no.
it was a regatta called Go for Gold, and racing had been cancelled because it was too windy. It was 45 knots, which in non-sailing terms is
Windy.
about 90-kilometre-hour winds.
Oh,
Windy,
jeez.
very windy.
Like, you do not sail in it.
No, no.
So we thought, let's go sailing.
Yep, naturally. Come on.
And before I know it, we had snapped our mast. My skipper had dislocated his shoulder,
Oh,
and I was missing.
you were missing.
I was missing. So
You were Harold Holting.
yeah.
Oh, God.
I went. I drifted away from the boat and was gone for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And that was seriously scary.
You were conscious the whole time?
Yeah,
or?
thankfully.
Thankfully, gosh.
That was I had to take a break from sailing after that. That was pretty bad.
I actually remember that happening.
Yeah.
I remember like this
Wow, that is scary.
It was not pleasant.
That was you almost saw the light kind of situation.
Quite literally.
Wow.
The only thing that actually saved me and I was found was I had a whistle and light on my life jacket.
Wow.
So, kids, take your whistles and lights.
Take a whistle.
Hey,
Take your
first.
whistles.
Safety first.
Because it quite literally saved me.
Wow. And then a muscular man jumped into
and
the water
then
with long hair and just rescued you, CPR and everything.
And then, there's more to this story now that I remember.
Oh.
And then, so I was missing for 2 hours, blew my whistle, had my light, and a awesome bloke called Rhett Gowans, who's one of our old coaches.
Great guy.
And
Shout out.
he was out there, and he ended up finding me.
Wow. That's fortunate.
So I owe my life to him, quite
Wow.
literally. Well,
Wow.
not really, but yeah. So
Gee,
Rhett
what a
found
man.
me, drifting off in Port Phillip Bay.
Oof.
I was only about a kilometre from shore, but still that's pretty far.
That is,
And as I was, so I got rescued by him, and as we were saving the boat, a rescue bloke, I don't know his name, but a poor volunteer just from Blackrock Yacht Club got his finger caught between both boats and sliced off.
I remember this day.
Yeah.
No, I remember sitting in the. Oh my God.
So
this was bad.
he was sensible. He was sensible and didn't go sailing. I wasn't.
I remember just sitting back on the beach like, oh, this is mint. And then I saw. It actually might even be too graphic to describe. But like,
he was missing fingers.
He was missing fingers.
Oh my God. Far out.
Anyways,
That's bad.
so I was very shaken up after that.
You would have
Went to hospital. Same with my skipper who dislocated his shoulder, so we were in hospital together for a bit. So that's a bad story.
Yeah, that's a bad story. We got the bad story out of the way. You're here with us now, which is an absolute miracle.
And thankfully. And then the great story is, and I'm sure Parksy can attest to this because he's been through the program as well.
Yep.
Something called Sail GP Inspire.
Huge. Great.
Huge.
Shout out them.
Shout
Tell
out.
us what it is.
So Sail GP is the leading professional circuit in our sport.
Terrific.
So they're pretty new. They're only in their 4th year.
Yep. So 14 events around the world, including Sydney, Auckland. I think they're in San Tropez next week.
Wow.
10 teams, all nationalities. Australia's got the hat trick. They've won the past 3, looking for their 4th.
Lovely.
And Parksy did it before me, but then I was privileged enough to intern for them at the Sydney event last year.
Wow.
Which it seriously is probably the best opportunity I've had. The things you learn, because it is the leading side of our sport. They're the flying boats. They're the professionals.
Wow.
And I was part of the shore crew for that. So
Gee.
rigging the boats, preparing them, launching them, got to go out and see them race, meet everyone, work with legends in the sport.
Wow. What a privilege. That's one of them just there.
Yeah. I was like, where's that? It's pretty cool program. So yeah, got to go up there to Sydney for the week and intern and pretty much learn the ropes of the leading circuit in the world, and met some really cool people and got some more opportunities from that. So
terrific.
It's definitely one of the best programs for young people looking for internships in the sailing business.
Wow, and I'm guessing this is a kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. Once you do it once, it's just that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a second try.
Yeah, so I've got.
Unless you're Parksy, of course, you get second tries.
I'm planning on going back to a few events this season.
That's good. Yep.
Been lucky enough to meet some awesome people and make some good impressions. So.
Oh, totally. Especially if they want you back multiple times.
Exactly. So. Through conversations, I've been invited back to do a bit of work for SailGP again. So that's pretty special.
Wow.
It's hard to describe in non-sailing terms, but it's essentially it's the Formula One of sailing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Formula One
High
of sailing.
octane sailing.
Imagine them just having a kid in the garage, just doing helping out with strategy and stuff.
Right.
That's
exactly
essentially
what
what we were doing. So.
And the tech there is obviously next level.
Oh,
incredible.
ridiculous!
Yeah. Incredible.
So that's essentially Parksy was there, and that was my probably most memorable experience of racing. Although the story does get bad because
That's where we have to end it.
For those who know what happened at SailGP
Sydney,
there was only one day.
There was only one day, and that's because as we were coming in on the last day, I am on the water craning the boats out. A massive, and I mean massive, hurricane force storm came through.
Jeez.
And wrote off one of the boat's wings, which is essentially their sail, and then also damaged 3 other boats. So racing got called off for the second day. We all got evacuated. And another nearly life-ending story from there.
You've been in the war stop.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure every news channel covered what happened.
It was
cancelled.
huge. Look up SailGP Sydney and it's there.
It's there.
Google it.
Massive storm, and I was down on the water, and then obviously the storm came, so we all got evacuated from the water, and I was on the dock, and as I was running across the dock, as soon as I jumped up, a massive gust of wind came and flipped the dock. So I got pretty lucky there as well.
Gosh. Tell you what, you've got a lucky guy on your team. I mean, he gets himself into precarious situations, but my word, Parksy, doesn't he get out of them?
Well, look at the Gold Coast weather. I think you'll be fine, mate.
Hopefully.
Just
you
don't
never
get
know with me.
Tom.
Oh yeah, look at me.
Yeah. For a visual,
I'm
he
British.
is very pale on the legs. Yeah,
I'm British.
yeah. And Parksy's got a very
nice
tan
tan.
there, actually.
Yeah, I've just come out of summer, so
he has out of the Danish summer. He's done very well.
It's been freezing here.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Well, boys, we really do appreciate your time today on the podcast. It's been great chatting and being educated by both of you about sailing, about the dangers of sailing.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of those, but in general, just the incredible journey that you both are on, and I'm sure all the Redback fans will, with eager eyes, be looking forward to not only this Nationals, but where you both go in the sport. It's a very exciting trajectory that you both are on, and we thank you so much for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And give one big word to the Redback fans listening out there.
Up the Redbacks! Let's go!
Okay, I was going to say...
Tom has not gone. I was telling
mate,
you guys were in sync.
Yeah, I was going to say get dizzy.
Get dizzy. Oh,
okay,
no,
okay,
let's
no,
go,
cut
Redbacks.
that out.
Come on, boys, you got this.
Ready, 3, 2, 1. Up the
Redbacks!
Redbacks!
Oh my God.
Okay. Let's cut it there.
Last one, come on.
Okay,
3, 2, 1.
Up the Redbacks!
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Redbacks Sailing Podcast. We will see you next week on the Redbacks Pod. Thank you very much.
Awesome.